Hey guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to share with you my reading plans for February. Now, as we all know, February is the shortest month of the year, but I seem to have a lot of books here. I don't know what I'm thinking. It's a little ambitious, but I really want to read all of these, so yeah, I don't know. Let's just get into it. So first up, I have a couple of current reads that I want to finish in the month of February. The first one being an audiobook that I'm listening to, and that is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This is a pretty well-known book right now because it just came out last year and it was a bestseller, but it is about a family, husband and wife and their teenage daughter. They moved to Alaska, and this takes place in the 1970s. The husband is a Vietnam veteran, and he's dealing with some demons. And they move there to kind of, in the hopes that it will turn things around, that they'll be happier and all of that. But Alaska is a pretty, though beautiful place to live when it's nice. It is pretty treacherous other times, and they slowly start to discover that as they're living there. I'm about 2 or 3 hours into the audiobook, really enjoying it. It's really good. The writing's great. I love that the narrator for the audiobook is the same narrator that did Educated by Tara Westover, which I loved. So I can't remember her name, but she's a great narrator, and I'm really enjoying that book. It's good. My next current read is one that I'm reading with Leia, because she came to me not too long ago and said, I want to read a big book with you. Like, she wants to read like a chapter book. And I'm like, okay, she's 4, maybe she's ready. So we picked up Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. And I haven't read this book since I was quite young, but it was one of the first chapter books I read. And we're about 100 pages into it, and it's holding her attention, which I'm surprised about. I wasn't sure if she would actually want to sit down and listen. We just read a chapter every night before bed. And she is actually enjoying the story, and she's remembering the story, because we kind of review things every night before we start the next chapter, and she's remembering it. So this is a classic, children's book about a pig named Wilbur and a spider named Charlotte and their friendship. And yeah, it's cute. Yet another current read I have going is a nonfiction book that I heard about. It was talked about on the New York Times book review podcast, and when I heard them talk about it, I was like, I have to read this book. It's called Never Home Alone: From Microbes to Millipedes, Camel Crickets, and Honeybees, The Natural History of Where We Live by Rob Dunn. This is basically a book about the microorganisms that exist inside of our homes that we don't notice because they're so tiny, and that what that means for us humans in our lives. And so it's equal parts fascinating but kind of creepy to think that you are surrounded by living little critters all the time. You're breathing them in, they're on your skin, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, scary, but also very interesting. And I'm I don't know, five chapters or so into it, and it is very interesting. I'm learning a lot. And then my last current read, I've only read the introduction of this, but I think I'm going to continue reading it. I picked it up from the library because, like a lot of people right now, the KonMari organization method is being talked about a lot because of Marie Kondo's Netflix series, Tidying Up. I watched it, and honestly, when I first watched the first episode, I was skeptical, and I was kind of hating on it a little bit. Like, who has time to pick up every single article of clothing they have, put it in a pile, and pick each one up and ask, does this bring me joy? I was like, who has time for that? Well, then I went and did it, and I found that it was actually a very cathartic process, and I was very pleased with the results. So I picked up her book from the library, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing, because I just want to read it and see if there's anything more kind of in-depth that I can get in terms of how this method works, besides what I saw on the TV show. I also did pick up her other book, Spark Joy, an illustrated masterclass on the art of organizing and tidying up, but I don't know if I'll actually read this one, because I feel like if I read this one, will this one be redundant? I mean, do they talk about the same thing? I don't know. Let me know if you guys know if they're both worth reading. But I'm definitely going to read this one because it came out first. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so now on to the books that I am not reading but want to read in February. So as you can see, I'm already got a lot on my plate. I don't know what I'm doing. But I want to do my jar challenge first because I have so much planned. I want to see if my jar challenge can fit one of the books I'm already planning to read. I know, is it cheating? Maybe, but it's my TBR and I can cheat if I want to. So I'm going to pick one and see what I get. Okay, it does not help me cheat at my TBR, but it is read a Kindle book. So let me grab my Kindle really quick and give it a look through and see which book I want to read. Okay, so I'm pretty excited. I looked through my Kindle books and I decided I'm going to read I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid because it's pretty short and it's like thrillery and has to deal with a relationship that is kind of on the rocks where the girl wants to end the relationship and they're driving to meet his family or something like that. So I think that that's like sounds like a good time to be reading it, and it's a quick one, so hopefully I'll be able to get through it. Okay, next up on my TBR is Haven by Tom Detty. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Bobby over at Bobby Reads Too Much. This is a horror novel that has a lot of It and Summer of Night vibes, so I'm pretty excited about it. It's about, I believe, a group of kids who are trying to fight evil in their town. Haven is the name of their town. And yeah, I love that trope, so I'm really excited to get to this one. It is kind of chunky. It's like a 500-page book. So I'm really hoping that Bobby and I enjoy it and that we can get through it in the month of February. Next up is another major goal for me for 2019 was to read the Anne of Green Gables series, to complete the series. So I'm going to read the 4th book this month. I'm going to read Anne of Windy Poplars by Ellen Montgomery. I don't know anything about this one, except I know that Katie from Life Between Words has told me that, or has said that this is her least favorite of the 8, but not to let it deter me. And I'm not going to. I'm going to read it. But I have no idea what it's about, but I am looking forward to visiting and seeing what Anne is up to. Next up, I have another chunky book. Again, I don't know what I'm thinking, guys, but I really want to read this this month. I think it's a good time to read it. That is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This one is a retelling of The Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, which I'm super excited about because I love Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my favorites, and so I'm really excited to see what Marissa Meyer does with the character because I enjoyed the Lunar Chronicles quite a bit. I thought they were really cool, and I loved how she kind of took that kind of twist on the fairy tale and made it her own story. I thought was really cool. And bonus, this book, when it's naked, is gorgeous. It is just gorgeous. So, but it is 450 pages long, so I really hope I can get through it. Okay, and my last book that I'm hoping to read in February, Lord help me, there's a lot of books here, but I really want to get to this one as well. It was my book of the month pick for January, and that is Maid, Hard Work, Low Pay, and a Mother's Will to Survive by Stephanie Land. This is a memoir that Stephanie Land wrote about her time being a maid for the wealthy class while she herself was financially struggling, and I just find those kinds of topics very interesting. I've heard that this one has kind of the same kind of vibe that the nonfiction book Evicted has, and I loved that book. I loved that book. It was a 5-star read. So I'm really excited to read this. I always enjoy a good memoir, and I hope that I have time to get to it this month. Okay, guys, so there you have it. That is my crazy, overly ambitious February TBR. I hope that I get to all these books because I really do want to read them all, but we'll have to just wait and see. So please let me know down below what you're planning to read in February because I would love to hear what everybody's reading plans are, and I hope that the month of February treats you well, and yeah, I will talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.